Reflections from Torch Trust, focusing on Christian faith and sight loss.
Hello and a very warm welcome to this week's Reflections, the show from Torch Trust that focuses on faith and disability in today's world. I'm your host, Marilyn Baker, and it's lovely to have you with us today. Fellowship has been an important part of Christianity right since the beginning. We hear in the Bible about people meeting together to listen to the words of God from prophets and teachers, and that sense of community and sharing our faith with others has always been such a wonderful part of worshipping Jesus. But for some people it can be very difficult to find such a community. They may be isolated, unable to get to church, or they may feel unwelcome, even if they can get there. Well, the Disabled Christians Fellowship are well aware of this issue, and it's their mission to help people with disabilities to enjoy faith and fellowship together. Our producer Grace recently spoke with the co-leader of the Sidcup branch, Tom Baker, about how the groups work.
Tom, first of all, for anyone who hasn't heard of Disabled Christians Fellowship groups before, can you just explain what they are and who they're for?
Right. Well, they are affiliated to the Baptist Church, and it was originally inaugurated in 1959, I believe, in Bristol. A lady called Jenny Edwards, who was a nurse, and she was disabled herself, so she just started it up in that local area, Bristol.
Oh.
And then it spread throughout the country, different branches and different churches.
Tell us again which branch it is that you run or co-lead.
It's in Sidcup, Kent, which is sort of outer London borough, in the borough of Bexley. And yes, it was in 1985 when one of the parishioners just noticed that people in wheelchairs were finding it difficult, to attend services. So she heard about Disabled Christian Fellowship, and she decided to set up a branch in Sidcup. And the minister at the time, Peter Clark, was very supportive. And, we've been going ever since. This is our 39th year now.
Wow, that's amazing. And so is it for anyone who has any sort of disability?
It is. I mean, there's all types of disabilities. I always say I'm as disabled as anyone, really. Maybe not physically, not as badly as other people, at least. But certainly we've all got disabilities. It depends how you want to look at it, really. We try and focus on what people can do rather than what they can't. But yeah, I mean, I would say about 10-15% of our membership are in wheelchairs, so they have a physical disability. Other people also have physical disability, but not necessarily confined to a wheelchair. But anyone that just feels that they are disabled in any way, it's very easy just to become overwhelmed in an era when there's so much achievement going on around you, so many seemingly successful people, and you can feel that you don't match up or whatever, in whatever way. As I said earlier, we try and focus on what people can do. And the great thing about it is it's sort of a great equalising factor, because we're all, as I say, we're all disabled to different degrees, but we will support each other.
Yeah, it sounds really positive and really inclusive. It sounds lovely.
That's what we tried to do, yes. Yeah.
And how did you get involved, first of all? How did that happen?
Well, a friend of mine was hospitalised back in 1990, and it was just a new world to me, really, because I've been very blessed with my health, so I hadn't frequented hospitals much, but going in there and seeing what he went through, it just gave me the idea to join my local Friends of Queen Mary's Hospital, Sidcup. And that led to a group called the Friday Stroke Club for recovering stroke victims, who meet at the Sidcup Baptist Church. And then that in turn led to Disabled Christian Fellowship, which I never heard of before. But I didn't really intend to get so involved, the way you don't. I just thought, go along, just lend a hand sort of thing, be a quiet presence there. But as things happen, you get invited onto the committee, and one thing leads to another. We're still run by committee, really. there's about 6 or 7 of us on the committee now, and we have regular committee meetings. So it's good, really, because you get different perspectives of things. It's much healthier.
That sounds really good. And so, what do you enjoy most about being involved with the group?
I didn't join it, get anything out of it at all. It was just I wanted to give my time. But I do get something out of it, because in the normal run of events, I mix with people who are got good health. They've got every reason to thank God for whatever they've been given in life, good health, good friends. But, too often they don't. Whereas at DCF, you've got people who've got every reason, well, to curse God, really, because most of them were born with their disability. And yet, they don't. There's a great spirit of joy there, joy through the suffering, I call it. And you come away uplifted. And it's the Christian faith, really, that brings that,
Yeah.
That's the essence of what we're about, And
Yeah.
we bring that to the people. We're not necessarily, we come from all different denominations, to be honest, and some people are not believers at all. But we put Christ at the centre of it all, and then everything follows on from that, really. If you put Christ at the centre, and then look at his life and his suffering, and then that puts things in perspective, and we say, I can understand, I can accept my suffering a bit more easily now because of what Jesus went through. So and we always finish with hymns or an epilogue, usually at the very end of the meeting. We try and get different ministers in from different denominations locally. There's actually 16 different churches in Sidcup.
Oh, wow.
Well, yeah, it's not that big an area, really, Sidcup, but 16 different churches, although 4 basic denominations. But we do try and get speakers from every denomination, try and be ecumenical.
Yeah. That's good. That's really important. I think that's so nice that it is. It's for anyone who wants it. Then that's very open.
Yes.
No one else brings joy to my heart like you. You really searched for me, you wanted me. No one else loves me the way you do. You draw me close, for you have captured my heart. You are my lover. My spirit rises up with joy to meet with you. You are a father who cares like no other, and I am joined to you, forever close to your heart. No one else knows me the way you do. All my deepest longings, you was my song, No One Else. We'll be hearing more about the Disabled Christians Fellowship Group in just a few moments. But first, it's time for our thought for the week. Today, Paul Rhodes is musing on the nature of burdens and how God is truly here and present, willing to help us bear them.
Psalm 68 verse 19 says, "Praise be to the Lord, to God our Saviour, who daily bears our burdens." There are lots of things we can call burdens. A burden is anything which holds us down, stops us from doing the things we should be, something which gets in the way of us and God. Sometimes we hear people say, "This burden is too much for me to bear." I'm glad we have Psalm 68 verse 19. Another verse we should remember is 1 Peter chapter 5 verse 7. "Cast all your anxiety on him, for he cares for you." The Amplified Bible puts it this way: "Casting the whole of your care, all your anxieties, all your worries, all your concerns, once and for all on him, for he cares for you affectionately and cares about you watchfully." God's love for people, Christian or not, is completely unconditional. No matter what we've done, where we've been, who we are, he loves us and wants to help us with our burdens. Matthew chapter 11, verses 28 to 30 says, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy, and my burden is light." When cattle and horses were used for pulling ploughs, a yoke was put around their neck. It could have been made of leather or thick rope wound together. It was well padded and comfortable. Its purpose was to make the heavy load easier to bear. We are never told in the Bible we will have our burdens taken from us. What we are told is God will help us to cope with the burdens we bear. Somebody once said to me, "If you can't cope with the workload you have, are you doing what God wants you to do? His yoke is easy, and his burden is light."
You're listening to Reflections, and if you're blind or partially sighted and live in the UK, we'd like to share our free Easter gift with you. Every year, Torch produces a short, free resource in Braille, audio and large print, which we will send to you absolutely free. This year's is called A Meditation from the Things He Carried by Stephen Cotterill. It covers Jesus' carrying of the cross, and it will stimulate thought, discussion and create the opportunity for contemplation. So if you're blind or partially sighted and live in the UK, please contact us for your accessible copy. The number to call is 01858 438 260. That's 01858 438 260. Or you can email info@torchtrust.org. Now it's time to head back to our producer Grace's interview with Tom Baker from the Sidcup branch of the Disabled Christians Fellowship Group.
Why do you think it's so important that the DCF groups do exist?
Well, because in the normal run of events, churches, let's face it, let's be honest, too often they appeal to people who are, how shall we say, you look at the normal church and most people are able-bodied, aren't they? That's the reality.
Yeah.
You don't see that many wheelchairs in church. So I think wheelchair-bound people probably don't feel very welcome in most churches. It's very important that people should feel welcome and wanted and important. So I mean that's what keeps us going really, because it's somewhere. It's just somewhere that people feel they belong, which is everything, isn't it? That we belong somewhere, you know. And the churches should fulfil that role, but as I say, too often it's not the case. It really isn't. You know, I've seen it for myself. That it's much healthier, I think, to be as Jesus would be, to offer the church as a haven for those who feel neglected, sidelined, abandoned, for whatever reason. We really are all embracing. We really are.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I think, like you say, yeah, if you can use Jesus as a model for your behaviour, then you can't really go wrong with that. That's a wonderful place to begin.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, that's fantastic. And what does a typical meeting look like?
Well, we meet on the second Saturday of the month, commencing. It used to be 2 o'clock sharp, but we depend a lot now on homes, local homes,
Ah,
and because they have their lunch at a certain time and they find it difficult to get their people ready, that they're often late.
no.
So we put it back to we put it back to 2:15, but people
Oh,
still come in dribs and drabs, unfortunately. But
oh.
anyway, um, so 2:15 we just welcome people and start with a prayer, of course, and then we normally have our entertainment at 2:30.
Hmm.
That can be in the church or in the hall, and it usually lasts 3/4 of an hour, taking us up to 3:15 when
Mhm.
we have tea and cakes and people chance for people to chat, and catch up with news. And that'll take us up to about 10 to 4 when we have the epilogue spot, as I mentioned. And
Mm.
sometimes we can finish with hymns, but we always finish with something called Our Song.
Oh.
Now, our song, I don't know if you've ever heard the tune Grandfather's Clock. That's an old melody written in the last century, well, 2 centuries ago now.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And one of our early members put new words to this. Reach a hand to a friend, you will find it will send a smile, pass it on, let it show. Anyway, it goes on like that. And we always finish with that song. No, members would not let us finish without singing that song. Sometimes we're lucky enough to have piano accompaniment, but other times we just
Mm.
make do with our own voices.
Oh.
So, all in all, the meeting lasts well, 2 hours really. Yeah, about a 4:30 finish.
Mm.
Um,
Mm.
so just over 2 hours.
Yeah.
And but of course we miss some meeting. We don't meet in August, and then the July meeting's slightly different because we have a summer party. We have fish and chips.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, so we get fish and chips from a local fish and chip shop,
Mm.
and finish with an ice cream. Well, actually, we used to have that in the garden outside in the church garden,
Mm.
and barbecue and everything. But well, the weather used to play havoc with paper cups and things, and people getting blown about. So we decided to hold it indoors after a while.
Mm. Fair
Uh, yeah, and then of course there's a Christmas party. That's a bit different again, and
enough.
we always have Santa, and
Mm.
a different format altogether. We organise games for that. Pass the parcel always goes down well.
Mm.
You know, so,
Oh, brilliant.
yeah, it's quite a strict format. But then when you've got a committee with quite experienced people on it, then it's good to have it well organised.
Mm.
You
Yeah.
need to really,
Yeah.
people expect it.
Mm.
Mm.
Mm. Yeah. Oh, it sounds absolutely wonderful. I'm so glad that this exists. Like, it sounds such a welcoming, lovely thing.
Well, so am I must say. It's not something that I thought I would ever get involved in, but life's like that, isn't it? You don't really know what
Mm.
turning is gonna take next. But I didn't think I'd still be involved. Oh, I think it's over 30 years now, 1992. Yeah, so that's
Yeah.
32
Wow.
years I've been involved.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Amazing.
Yeah. And
Mm.
so your group itself, you said it's 39 this year, is it, the group? So
39 years. And we do have one member, Joan, who has been there since the beginning, Joan Waller,
wow. Oh,
with her
brilliant.
husband, Alan. Alan doesn't tend to, he drops her off and collects her again afterwards. But Joan, yeah, Joan is special to us because she does represent the roots, and it's important. You can stray from the original concept. It happens
Mm.
without you intending it to or realizing it.
Mm.
But Joan keeps us firmly rooted and reminds us really what we're about. Because originally there was only about a dozen members,
Mm.
and in a way that's got an attraction because it's more intimate and. Sometimes when it's bigger, and like our last meeting, we had 70 people,
Wow.
and people can feel a bit lost there. They don't feel. Sometimes people have gone through a whole meeting and they haven't been spoken to or
Mm.
felt that they belong to the group, and that's a shame.
Mm.
So you
Yeah.
can lose that when it gets too big. So me, I don't want it to get too big.
Mm.
I do want it to keep growing, but not necessarily in size, but growing in the spirit. That's the most
Mm.
important thing. We don't want to
Mm.
lose that spirit.
Mm. That's vital. Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh,
Yeah,
wonderful. Well, thank you so much for speaking with me about it. That's fantastic.
not at all. Thank you for asking.
If you'd like to learn more about Disabled Christians Fellowship groups, including how to find if there's a group in your area and information about starting a new DCF group, just go to throughtheRoof.org/DCF-groups. I'm sorry to say that we're all out of time for this week. I hope you've enjoyed our show, and if you've got a comment, question or suggestion, then do please get in touch. The number to call is 01858 438 260. That's 01858 438 260, or you can email info@torchtrust.org. You can also find us on social media. Just search for Torch Trust on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. Until next week, from me, Marilyn, and everyone on the Reflections team, goodbye and God bless.
You've been listening to Reflections from Torch Trust.